I'll see
Optimism.
Unless it's woken up.
All right, 2 more minutes. We're gonna wait 2 more minutes.
Well, that's good tonight.
Bill?
Yeah,
No.
well, you don't need, I don't think not. John is, he's supposed to, he did confirm.
I'd say he was mad because Manny was sitting next to me. He was like jumping in my grave already.
He's possessed on his own chair.
He didn't know that. Eat my chair.
Hi, Councilwoman Perna.
Eat my chair.
Put us up here so you can get,
But this is, we still have enough, right?
Yes, because John is here. Thank you.
Okay, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody wants it.
So, right, but like, I got 2 here because they couldn't be here, but
Yes.
one of them wasn't supposed to be here, another one was.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Talking about you, Bill.
You're all set.
Yeah.
probably don't want it like on the,
Yeah. Say it.
the official
On
record.
the unknown comment. No, I heard you, Joseph. Oh, man. I love you, but come on.
All right, let me do here.
So, I was. Yeah.
No, yeah.
The right side of the dance are the overachievers.
Yeah.
That's that
That was
dance.
this right now.
Okay. hold on.
Hi, Susan.
Hello, how are you? I didn't expect you today, Council President.
Hi, Margaret. Oh, I didn't see her. Okay. Hi, Margaret. But she's up in the corner. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
What?
Ba-dum-bum.
What are you here like? We didn't start yet. We didn't start at all.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. I call the meeting to order at 4 PM. Angela, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act?
This emergency public meeting is being held pursuant to NJSA 10:4-9B. Notice of this meeting has been provided by forwarding a copy to the Courier News, Star Ledger, and posting on the Township website. This meeting will not substantially go past 5 o'clock.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kudo,
Here.
Mr. Foster,
Here.
Mrs. Illis.
She said here, but she has no sound.
Thank you. Mr. Machado,
Here.
Mr. Moran, Mrs. Fogue,
Here,
Mayor DeVane.
I am here. Would you all please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, as they say, third time is the charm. We are in person. There is no public Zoom link, so I expect this to be a productive meeting. With that, I need legally to ask for a vote to authorize the emergency meeting according to NJSA 10:4-B, 49-.
It's for vote.
Mr.
Roll call.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Illis, Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mrs. Fogue.
Yes,
Okay, before we head to the citizens hearing, I'm going to ask our OEM coordinator, Tony Padovano, to come forward and explain some of the process related to storm damage, how that happens, how he obtained his estimates, and we'll have our township engineer add to that if he needs to add to that in terms of engineering and declaration of emergency.
Can I just?
Yes,
The
please
audience
do.
set up, because you guys know what I do.
Yes, every day. You can turn the dais around as a matter of fact if you.
All right, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Anthony Padovano. I wear quite a few hats in towns. I've been the OEM coordinator since 2006. I've been your fire chief for over 15 years, plus 30 years on the department. I've been with Public Works over 30 years. So I have a pretty good understanding of how things operate in the town. So I'm gonna give you a little history about when you have these significant events, weather, snow, whatever. I do what's called a damage assessment process. All right, so during the storm, after the storm, I'm driving around and I'm documenting, validating damage. Okay, after that process is done, that usually takes about a good 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm always fine tuning it along the way. And keeping mayor and council on board too, as these projects get larger and larger. All right, and then what happens after that is I let our damage assessment officer, Tom Safaro, know, and again, he's kept pressed along the way. We get word from Union County that if it's a significant event like it was July 4th rainstorm, so they want a rough, we call it phase one. Phase one is just rough estimates are coming in, your damage is documented in county. And then once there's a threshold that we, Union County, have to meet, and that's 2.7 million in damages. All right, and then statewide is 17. Last I checked with Union County and other counties, we were at 20, a little over 20. So at that point in time, then there's some things that happens in between that point, and it goes to the president's desk for a disaster declaration. And then FEMA gets deployed and they're on the ground and they go into all the hard hit areas. All right, but we're in phase two right now. Phase two is this. So all our rough estimates, damage that the county got, now we're working with New Jersey State OEM. We're fine tuning those quotes. We're fine tuning our damages just to make sure they qualify. So we meet that threshold. Okay. And then once that process is done, state OEM comes in and they want to look at some properties just to make sure, hey, okay, this is exactly what you said. And again, everything is documented, photoed, and uploaded to our township portal. All right. So that's kind of where we're at now. All our damages have been uploaded. We've met with contractors to try and get the best price. Again, that's why you folks are gonna see, there was a damage assessment that was emailed to the mayor and administrator. I believe that was posted today.
On the website, correct.
Okay, it's posted today. So you're gonna see prices there, where all the damages are. And it's even to the exact detail where if you go like Wentworth Drive got hit pretty hard. Okay, you'll see exact addresses where there's physical damage in the roadway, lifted asphalt, voids, missing blacktop, washout along curb line, all that's gonna be in there, okay? So everything is right there in detail. What bridges got damaged. And again, there's a process, like I said, okay, what's town, what's county property, and what's state property. Okay, that's all fine-tuned during this process, and that's why they got the finished product. So that's kind of where we're at now. Again, all the complaints that came into Liza's office, our office, again, they've all been investigated, validated, documented. And that's kind of where we're at now.
And I think we have copies of the damage assessment next to Diane, if anyone wants to pick up a copy of that along with the agenda.
I know there was
It's
a
also on
question,
the website.
there was a question, are we reaching out to FEMA? Are we reaching out? No, FEMA we're not at that level. We're not at that level yet. Hopefully we're gonna get there. Hopefully we're gonna get there. I haven't heard anything otherwise. Just before I came in here, I called county OEM. I said, can you give me the latest and greatest update of where we're at? So he heard, our county coordinator heard that soon state officials are gonna start coming out to the municipalities that were hit hard. So that's where we're at.
Township engineer, do you have anything to add to that?
Tony, those who don't know me, I'm Tom Safaro. I'm the township engineer. Been licensed for way too long. I'm a local resident, so I can definitely emphasize and sympathize with everybody in this town because where I live is subject to flooding. So, I mean, obviously this administration for years has trying to be proactive and tackle arduous and very complex drainage projects, no matter how big or small. And obviously every time we have a rain event that just transpired a couple weeks back, we all cringe, and it's definitely not a fun feeling, and I feel for everybody because I'm part of that. But Tony summed it up really well. Do we need to add anything about the private, property acquisition into FEMA or no? I know it has nothing to do with tonight with the bond or nothing, but.
I mean, there was a link where all the residents had an opportunity to upload their damage information in there. All right, it's gonna be redundant because again, if hopefully this gets a disaster declaration, again, FEMA's gonna come into your neighborhoods. All right, because I'm gonna direct them. Because I know where all the hard hit neighborhoods are. So they're gonna go to door and you're gonna have opportunity and again, show your documentation, all that stuff. So you're gonna have to just do the process all over again. So
Why not?
Okay.
I supplement OEM, obviously, Tony, OEM and DPW, Jimmy and the group, they're the ones who are always on the ground every day.
Jim McMahon is the foreman head of our DPW, who's also first responder, was out all night during July 14th, trying to get debris and do the best that we could do during the storm. So thank you to you all. I know you're all out all night.
I mean, here's like a big piece of information too. Again, we need that disaster declaration. Because once that happens and FEMA comes in, you know, DEP going into the waterways, cleaning out some of these stone and these debris piles in the brooks, that is key. That's key to helping contribute to the cleaner brook. So again, but once that happens, you know, again, I can let everyone know.
And then Diane, can you just speak to the financial process of the bond that we had additional money that we're almost repurposing is the correct word? And hopefully we won't have to actually put the bond out for sale. Hopefully, you know, the FEMA monies will come through and we won't have to use Township or 80% at least. So can you just explain that process, please?
Right now, we're looking at a lot of the projects, the majority of the damage was capital type expenses. So therefore, we need a vehicle to prepare ourselves so we can pay up front for this damages, for all these damages. And there's basically only three categories. We have roads and the culvert / bridges, and there's some property damage. And that was minor. So by doing this, what we'll do is we'll authorize, you'll authorize this bond ordinance, and that will give us the ability to borrow the money should we need it. We also, there was road damage in addition to what we're requested to be authorized in this, that were coming from prior bond ordinances that were sometimes small balances left over that was written in such a way that was able to be used. Also, we're reappropriating the fund, we're not reappropriating, but the money we would have used for our 2025 roads project are being immediately reallocated to these roads instead of those roads. Some of the roads are both on both lists, but that'll help us have the funds up front to move and react even faster than this bond ordinance. Okay. And if there are other additional expenses outside capital, you'll be hearing from me asking for an emergency appropriation for some of those expenses, like the garbage pickup. If we
Operational.
Right, operational type things.
Okay. I think that covers the basics. Can I have a motion to open the citizens hearing?
I move to open citizens hearing. I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Kudo,
Aye.
Mr. Foster.
Yeah.
Mrs. Illis,
Yes.
Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue.
Yes.
Comments are welcome during the public comment period on any matter over which the township has jurisdiction. Before making a comment, all speakers must identify their name and address for the record. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes and the council president will keep time. So with that, I open up the citizens hearing.
For a small clock, I'll keep you on the
We'll keep you posted.
No problem. Hi, my name is Jacqueline Sinque, and I reside at 168 Briarwood Drive East. My husband and I are beyond frustrated to see no mention in the agenda regarding any resolution to the ongoing flooding issues impacting the residents of Greenbrier, Briarwood Drive East, Lawrence Avenue, Robbins Avenue, and Springfield Avenue. This is not just about the July 14th storm. We have been dealing with chronic flooding even during minor storms over the years. In the 6 years we have lived here, our home has been severely impacted 3 times. September 2021, surrounded on 3 sides by water with flooding in our basement. August 2024, water again entered our basement and pressed against the back of our home. And in July of 2025, our home was completely surrounded on all sides by water, flooding our basement and even reaching our first floor. In addition to these devastating events, we have witnessed and documented numerous occasions when the creek has risen over its banks. This should not be happening. If the township's position is that residents are responsible for keeping the creek clear, which many of us strongly dispute since nothing in writing at the time of purchase states this, then the township at the very least should be monitoring the sediment buildup, soil erosion, and implementing a real plan to address these problems. The erosion and sediment buildup are undeniable. The creek is noticeably more shallow than in the past years. For each year, more soil erodes, trees die, and the surrounding wooded areas lose the ability to absorb this water. Beyond our property, two creeks converge and meet at a city's storm drain at the edge of our land. This is exactly where the water begins to back up and surround our home during the heavy rains. We have repeatedly pleaded with the township for solutions and have been met with only deflection and a complete lack of accountability. At what point do we stop sacrificing our homes, our properties, and our mental health just so that the township can avoid dealing with this? My husband and I should not have to feel a surge of anxiety every time it rains. We should not have to worry whether we'll be home to save our possessions when the next storm hits. On July 14th, if we had not been home and if not for the great neighbors that lent us more pumps, we would have lost everything on the first floor and in our basement. We were lucky. We spent 2 weeks tearing out sheetrock, ripping up floors, repainting and repairing. This is unacceptable. The damage we suffered could have been significantly mitigated if the township had secured the proper funding or implementing some real flood prevention measures. What once worked no longer works. Why is the stormwater being pushed into the already overabundant creek? Why are homes taking on sewage in our basements when we are flooding? Why can't I flush my toilet when it's heavy raining? We are demanding answers and, more importantly, action. It's a time for the township to step up, acknowledge its role in the situation, and present a concrete plan to protect its residents from future devastations. Now, you mentioned earlier about somebody coming to the creeks and looking at what's in there and moving boulders and stuff. Tell them to come to Briarwood Drive East, because nobody comes. We all waited on the day the governor came to town. Nobody came that day. And our entire block, my son had to stay at a friend's house because he couldn't get home because both roads leading to my house were up to my mid-thigh. He had to stay away from home that night while my husband and I and my other son had to bail out our home with multiple pumps. We're not talking one and we're not talking two. If it wasn't for our neighbors' help, we would have lost a hell of a lot more, as all of our other neighbors did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, John McWes, Berkeley, 56 Kings Avenue, Berkeley Heights. The details around the bond, in terms of when things were, what items or what areas are gonna be, that's uploaded?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, and when was that uploaded? When was that made available? Today?
Today I put it up, yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been a good idea to have that made available to the public before the meeting, so that the public had an opportunity to review it versus throwing everything on somebody within a 2-hour period. And I think your remarks are absolutely dead on. And that's why I think it's very important to tie specifics to the ordinance. Very vague. I don't know, like, would you sign house repairs based on the language of that ordinance? Like, we're just gonna fix these things in general. Give us this money. You're asking people to fund, and I get it that the state might come in and, or, you know, we're gonna get funds to sort of cover that, but that's not a guarantee, because if that doesn't happen, that's yet another $3 million bond the taxpayers are gonna cover, right? So I think accountability is important. I think it would reduce distress if people knew specifically what areas were gonna be fixed and covered, if that stuff was sort of handed out before the meeting. The other question that I had is, I'm not sure why a capital plan was attached to, it disappeared, I think, on the 7th, right? So you had the agenda on the 4th, the 5th.
The resolution.
Yeah, and then that dropped on the 7th. And I'd like an explanation as to why that was there in the first place. Is there a tie to that? Is that tied to the bond?
Yeah, I'll let them answer.
Right.
Yeah, it was not necessary. The ordinance covers it. There was some question on our part between Diane and myself on whether it was required, because amending the capital budget does need to happen, but it was included by our bond attorney in the bond itself. Until I got confirmation from him, we said, let's be redundant, put something out there in case it's needed. He did come back and say his wording does cover it. It's not necessary. So rather than keep it in as redundant, it was removed.
Yeah, I was just trying to, it's just a question of what because it was hard for me to ascertain the connection between that and the bond. I mean, there was one area on there that I think the bond could have covered, which was the vehicles. Was there a connection between the capital plan and the bond? Were the two at all related?
The capital plan, was the original one we passed.
Right.
Budget and then addition of this new borrowing.
Okay, so
So
that,
these
that
lines up.
borrowing did trigger the appearance of the capital plan on the agenda.
I don't
No,
know.
it was-
No,
No.
so they're not interdependent. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Thank you.
And John Paul, if I could just answer something. So I think if we weren't so crazy in trying to get all these assessments done, I mean, let me tell you, these guys have been working like nonstop to get the assessments done because we couldn't have this meeting until they got all the damage assessments done because we needed to know how much to put on the ordinance before we could plan the meeting. And we said this morning, we're like, if we weren't flying by the seat of our pants and going crazy doing this, one of us might have thought, let's put the damage report out earlier. So that was not nefarious by any means. It was actually a very good point.
Liza,
I
no
wish
one-
I did get it up earlier, but that's the only reason why it wasn't, because
No one's claiming anything is nefarious. I mean, I think the township has a long history of, and not just this governing body and not just today, but like crisis, pass, right? And so, and then decisions get made and there's not a lot of clarity. And I think that I don't think asking questions or asking for specifics, given the history of things, assumes anything nefarious, but it's a realistic sort of forward view of like, is this money that we're allocating going to be held accountable to what it's really for? And I think that's a fair
Oh,
question.
100%,
I think
100%.
That's a very
And
fair question.
yes, just,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you, John.
Hi, my name is Keith Kagan. I live at 88 Robbins Avenue. I've lived in Berkeley Heights for 25 years. Just acknowledge that there's a lot of love in my heart, not in my voice. I would like some transparency of who owns what creeks. We asked for this about 15 years ago when there was a meeting at Governor Livingston after a large event like this, and we were told the town, the county, and the state run some of the creeks or own some of the creeks. And there's never been any transparency who owns what, so who's responsible for what. I expect this administration to find this out. This has gone on way too long. Any comments? No?
The
We have
attorney can speak to waterways.
I'll just
Legally is
speak to it. I mean, there's plenty of websites that you can go to look at the tax lots and look at various things as to who owns property where.
No, not the.
Let me just
the
finish.
creek.
Let me finish. Let me
The
finish.
creek.
Any stream that goes through your property, a private piece of property, is owned by you. And you have the right to it and the obligation to it under the New Jersey stormwater regulations to maintain it, to upkeep it, to clear any debris from it, to make sure that it's.
Really?
Yes. If
Okay,
it goes through public property, either the town's right of way,
well, let me ask,
road,
if I may interrupt you.
finish,
No, I
finish,
want to
finish.
interrupt you.
or
that is the
just in
case,
general
sir,
through a
if-
town park.
If that is
and
the
that's owned
case,
by the municipality.
why is he, or why are we funding something? If you're now punting it onto the taxpayer, he is doing for it 25 years within this town. The town used to clean it out on a regular basis.
Because there are two responsibilities, both the municipal responsibility, this is throughout the state, this is not unique to Berkeley Heights, and a private property owner's responsibility. As I said, the private property owner's responsibility is to maintain the stream or the creek.
Okay, can you identify?
Let me finish.
No, okay, can you?
Let me finish.
No,
Yeah, let me
words
finish.
matter. What does maintain mean, sir?
Maintain means if there's anything damming up a stream or blocking the free flow of the stream, and that stream goes through a private property owner's property, you have an obligation to clear it. Now, the municipal obligation, again, throughout the state's 564 municipalities, is for the overall maintenance for stormwater management. The stormwater issues in the state of New Jersey, especially as we get, as we get warmer in our planet, are becoming more and more serious. That's why the state has adopted new stormwater regulations, which any engineer will tell you are very, very strict. The overall obligation of municipality, though, is more of the systemic obligation to the infrastructure.
Okay,
So the parts.
my
that
my
come-
time is running
come
out, so What I heard is it's my responsibility to keep it clear debris.
That's
It's
correct.
your responsibility or the township's responsibility to keep it deep. That's what I'm hearing. Keep it deep. So to dredge it, to clean it, to,
On private property?
well, no, the stream doesn't, if the stream doesn't run through my property, it's abound my property. In fact, it's adjacent to my property.
I don't know what that means, adjacent to your property.
Well,
Then it's on your neighbor's property.
no, because the neighbor is Greenlands, Green Acres, excuse me.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure the town's responsible for that.
Where the stream goes or the ditch goes through, whether it's private property, that's private property owner's obligation. If it's on public property like municipal county.
I'd like you to come to my house and tell me where my creek is.
Well, I'd have to look at your property survey.
Okay, you can look in the map, but I think you're full of it, but that's my responsibility.
Well, I'm just telling you what the law is.
That's fine.
The town.
I just personally, I think this whole administration, not you, the administration, the whole council, or for years, have avoiding this one issue. For years. Like I said, 15 years ago, we had a whole meeting at GL. Nothing was done. Norton Asto's property at Robbins Avenue, every single storm is encapsulated by water. Every single year. What does it do? It cuts off the town, correct? That road at Springfield Avenue is constantly destroyed. Nothing is done. Nothing has ever been done in 25 years. It used to not happen, but all of a sudden, these big storms happen. Do we have a cleaning schedule? We used to have a cleaning schedule. Is there any schedule at all? And I'm asking this because this was also brought up at that meeting 15 years ago. And you know what the engineer said? We'll get back to you. So I'm not sure if you were the engineer at that time.
He was not.
I was not at the time.
I
But
think,
now I'm asking the question.
I
What's
think-
the cleaning
I
schedule?
think Tony would like to
Okay, so
address it.
anytime a significant rainstorm
I'm
is
just talking,
forecasted.
I'm not even talking about a significant, I'm talking a regularly scheduled cleaning plan. Because when the storm happens, it's already too late. All right?
Well, we go prior to the storm, sir. Prior to the storm, we're out there. We're
Okay.
walking the-
Isn't that a
Yes,
little
we
bit
are.
too late? Don't we think we should have an annual cleaning plan? You have an annual training plan for the firefighters, I'm sure, right? You have an annual maintenance plan for DPW, right? Why don't we have an annual plan to look at the creeks or clean the creeks?
If it's related to township property, and Jim McMahon can speak to this, it is maintained. If it's not,
DEP permits.
Yeah, so there,
well, if you're talking about dredging, yeah, we,
I'm just talking in general,
let me,
because as a homeowner,
right,
it's
frustrating.
it's not always frustrating. I don't care about whose it is or what it is. I don't want water on my property. I don't want water on Elaine's property. I don't want property on any of these people's property. I don't want their houses ruined. And honestly, Township Committee has done squat in 25 years or has not been there. But guess what? What was it, like 5, 6 years ago? What did you guys do? You reappropriated money, so we didn't do the spring cleanup, and what was it used for?
I wasn't here then. I don't know what you're
Does
talking
anybody
about.
remember what that money was used for?
I'm not sure what you're talking
It was
about.
used to clean the creeks.
Okay.
They reappropriated the money that was used for the spring cleanup, and it was used to clean the creeks. So I'm sorry, sir, when I say I don't think you're true, or I don't believe you, because it was reappropriated. It was done by the town. So,
exactly, let me finish. There is a provision in the stormwater regulations for municipalities to get a special permit from the DEP to go in and clear regulated bodies of water. Now, that's regulated bodies of water is a definition under state law, and it has to be determined in any particular case whether it qualifies.
right, was your
as that definition.
house flooded, Mr. Song?
I'm sorry, I'm substituting for Mr. Salmon, who's on trial today. I don't live in town, I live in Westfield, and
Okay.
thankfully I'm a little high up. But growing up, I certainly was. I grew up in Long Hill Township.
Okay, so you know,
I know.
wouldn't you be upset too? You don't have to answer it because you won't. Now, another question I have is, I'm sure from 2024, how much time do I have? Can I ask one quick question?
A
minute ago.
You can ask.
Let me ask one quick question. We're talking about money. I actually have 2 quick questions. I'll make 2 comments. I'm sure 2024, we didn't use all of our snow removal budget because it was a light year for snow. Can that money be used for the streets and all that other stuff so we don't have to go to bond?
Yes, but there's not that much money. There's approximately 40,000 I mean, it will be used for other.
That wasn't mentioned. That's why I'm bringing it up.
It will be used for other expenses, not capital expenses. That money could be.
Okay. I'm not sure what that means, but
So
okay.
there was, it would be
The la-
more of an operating expense
Okay.
than a capital.
The last question I have is, if I wanted to do anything in this town, we have, what's that law called, where you have to have water that be able to seep through the ground? And, thank you. I'm curious, and somebody can just tell me yes or no. Are the plans for Connell and any other new building where there's non-permeable flow right now that's changed in the past 5 years available to the town to see who approved it? Because I know if I want to put in a new patio or a shed or whatever, I have to get approval for one of the things is non-permeable. So my question is, and many of us believe that these issues are because of all these new non-permeable surfaces. Now, I'm not an engineer. I don't know, but I do know that there's a crap ton more non-permeable surfaces in this town. And a lot of them kind of start at the beginning of where the Robbins Avenue Creek starts. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But I'd like to just know if those are available and if somebody can direct me later on. I apologize for exceeding my time and thank you.
Any information or documentation, you can Oprah it through the clerk's office, and all of those forms are online, so you don't even have to come in and submit them to Angela, okay?
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve Gribben. I'm at 140 Briarwood Drive East. As we're talking about spending and borrowing millions of dollars, mostly what I was hearing and when I'm reading the document, I believe it's mostly about repairing streets and that type of thing. And like a few of the other speakers, I really want to talk about stormwater management and the creek. Just to give you some very quick information on my personal experience on July 14th, we've lived in the house for about a year. We had the creek backed up from the backyard, the street backed up from the front yard. The house was completely surrounded on all four sides by water. The biggest problem in the basement is that the sewer pipe was backing up, and I had Niagara Falls of sewage water coming out of my slop sink. Collectively 5 feet of water in my basement. I'm sure some of that was from the storm, but a lot of it was the sewer. The house was completely surrounded by water, and every door on the main level, in the front, the back, and in the garage, water came in all those levels. So everything has been flood cut on the main level and in the garage. Everything that was in the basement, all the expensive stuff, heat, air conditioning, hot water, washer, dryer, was all totaled. Now, it's my house. I know I have responsibility. I'm going to do everything I can for defense for the next time. I'm spending $14,000 on French drains, backwater valves in the sewer pipe that comes to my house. I know a lot more about flood insurance than I did on July 13th. I was one of those people who thought, I'm not in a floodplain. I don't need flood insurance, so I know a lot about that now. So I'm doing everything I can. But I believe that the town has their responsibility too. The creek, what I keep hearing over and over is that if the creek is on private property, it's the homeowner's responsibility. And we do take responsibility. I've taken construction material out of there. I've taken garbage out of there. I've taken branches out of there. I've trimmed vegetation on the sides. But if the town is using the creek as the mechanism for removing stormwater, you can't just say that's a homeowner's responsibility. Because if the street is flooding with water because the creek can't handle it, and water's coming in all of my doors, then there's no more defense that I have for everything that I'm trying to do. I've heard a couple of things about DEP approval in order to try to fix or clear out some things in the creek. I'll give you an example of something. On Monday, I walked down to where Robbins Avenue meets Springfield Avenue, and the creek crosses under Springfield Avenue, right at Passaic River Park there. So that is public land, right? Obviously from Springfield Avenue to the river, maybe it's a few hundred yards. I sent pictures on Monday. I spoke to Linda Palumbo on Monday. She was lovely. seemed very empathetic and concerned, encouraged me to send an email. I sent it to her and her boss, Mr. Graziano. I believe I sent it to you, but I can't be certain. I sent it to about 4 or 5 people with pictures. The big money shot being there's a pipe that goes across the creek right where it meets the Passaic River. And there is, I have pictures if you want to see it. There is just tons of branches that have built up to this pipe, plus some gas cans and some coolers. And it's essentially a dam at the one spot where the creek is supposed to go into the Passaic River. Now, maybe they've taken action. I don't know. I sent the email Monday, but I don't know because no one got back to me and said, thanks for the email. Let's look into it. It might be Union County's responsibility. I don't know. I also I sent an email to Union County about it, but I'm just one guy on Briarwood Drive. If it's the county's responsibility, someone from Berkeley Heights get on the county's responsibility. Get on the county to clear this right away because there's going to be another one of these storms. And it can't possibly be a DEP issue to clear up garbage and branches against a pipe that's impeding the flow of the creek. I guess it's not, it can't only be our responsibility to keep this water moving through the storm system. The town has to take responsibility and give us plans to let us know what the plan is and what we're doing about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you get that email?
I was out there today. I saw the nice big cooler. It was blue.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still there.
So that's on the,
That's on the Passaic Park side.
right, but there's also like, if you go all the way to the path and then make the right, because the river's there, there's
Yeah.
a pipe that goes across the river.
Yep.
I mean, I sent the picture in an email.
I'm familiar with it.
I mean, I can't imagine we need anyone's approval to clear that stuff out.
So I believe it is unique. I believe it is Union County, I believe. Again, I could be wrong. But what I'll do is I have those photos, so that'll go to Linda. Linda, she has a contact, Linda Palumbo has a contact the county that she deals with, so.
Okay, but if we can put some pressure on.
I'll follow up with that. Just copy me on that email because I'll follow up with the county manager.
Ridiculous. Can I ask a question? Period.
Can this gentleman go first and then you can come back up?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir, you at the podium. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Herb Waddell. I live at 98 Robbins Avenue. I'm the original and only owner of that property. I'm across the creek from Keith. I had extensive flood damage. My basement window was pushed in by the flood and it flooded my basement. So it's my fault, I guess, because I didn't notice the window needed repair. But it took weeks. I've got a nice clean basement now, but the town, fortunately for me, carried away about a truckload of debris. Okay, now historically, when that house was built, it was in a development approved by the township, the county, the state, everybody, I'm sure, had their finger in it. It was regraded to make the maximum use of the space for lots. And the stream that was through the area was man moved. It goes straight as an arrow from my property down to the Passaic River, well, down to the Passaic River Park. I don't know what goes on down there. And above that, it's straight. It was essentially clear of vegetation when I bought my lot. Now it's all filled with trees. Much of it is in I guess it's township property. It's land that couldn't be developed and was transferred to the township. So that certainly the township should fix up because it's their property. The easement on my property, I understand it, is from the county. Okay, the same county built an athletic field upstream at the headwaters of the creek. They put in an artificial turf field and big asphalt parking lots, which are an ideal way to make a flash flood. I measured about 4 inches of rain in about 2 hours on what was it, the 25th of July? Monday,
14th.
close to that. No stream can handle that if it's full of trees. And if its headwaters are prime runoff. So now, my question. Obviously, I'm not going to get relief on improved drainage because it's been a long time. I've been in there 63 years. I did go and get a slight reduction in my taxes because of the easement. It's 20 feet off the full depth of my property, plus another easement across the back. So my lot has substantial easements, and the town has hauled away trees that fell down, and I always just assumed that was their responsibility. I thank Berkeley Heights for stepping in when the stream was obstructed. But it certainly needs a real engineering job to clean it out and make it go. Now, could the town help the property owners with maybe give us some help in getting our taxes reduced? I mean, we have definitely a loss in value that happened when the floodplains were established. I didn't get a nickel from anyone when they took my property in a floodplain. I had the assurance of the county, the town, the state, probably even Uncle Sam, when I bought my property, that it was habitable. And it isn't. And I think we should get the relief we can and the assistance we can. And that's what I'm asking for. Please help us get that, I call it a creek, the creek cleaned up. And I'm going to investigate tax relief myself, but I think maybe someone could help us.
You can meet with the tax assessor. You can meet with the tax assessor. He's on the second floor. You can make an appointment and you can reach out to him.
That's where I start.
Yeah. Do we have this posted on the website, the $10,000 grant?
Yes, the senior grant, yes.
Okay, yeah, so.
Thank you.
Take a look at this. There's a grant for older adults.
For seniors,
Yeah.
yeah. For if your home was affected.
The storm damage through, Union County.
Okay.
Economic factor though, right?
Yeah. You have to look at-
Income eligibility, you never know.
Well, you can see the first qualification over 62.
Got that one?
How we fell down.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you want to come back up?
Yeah.
Just come back up and I'll tell you why.
Only got about 30 seconds from the last time. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you why. The room is wired in the ceiling and on the mic, so if somebody like the council people, they may not be able to hear you if you speak from your seat.
Fine, that's fine.
The way things are wired, yeah.
Usually I don't like to talk, but you got me
Okay.
a good day. My question was, we have identified where there's crap blocking a bridge. Right? We've identified it. Why can't we just clean it?
We have, and I know you don't want to hear this, but.
I'm probably not
we
gonna
have
want to.
follow Certain laws. So if it's not our property, we legally can't. Or if we have to obtain a DEP permit, we have to do that. We took an oath of office to follow the law. So if it's Union counties, I will help to bring that to the front of, their attention and work to get that done. But we can't just go out, we being the township or DPWs, there are instances where we can't. We have been looking at the easement and the deed situation, and we keep finding that these deeds tell us that the property line, it's private, it's privately owned by the homeowner. We're trying to figure it all out, but I'll also tell you, the West Side Drainage Project, for example, which is something related to our sewer, our sanitary lines, trying to upgrade those. We took on that project. It's $20 to $50 million project, substantial. It is year 8 of trying to, we've gotten federal appropriations, state appropriations. We are in year 8 and still aren't under construction. When you take on these environmental types of projects, it is a very long road. It's not, I'll give you a great example. Plainfield Avenue is caving in because of the storm on July 14th. I personally drove through it. We were coming back from Ohio from a softball tournament. I almost didn't get back to Berkeley Heights to get to the police department to do what I needed to do. We took chances we probably shouldn't have. I saw water flashing across roads like the Colorado River. There were boulders that were being moved instantaneously where people were literally popping tires. It was the most insane storm that I've ever seen, right? Plainfield Avenue caves in. Deputy County Manager sets up a meeting with the DOT and a couple other, communities nearby. The DOT tells us we'll do the best that we can, but we're being asked by the DEP to tear up riprap and replace it with vegetation, right? So this environmental, balance and the state law and the stormwater, we're doing the best that we can and we're looking into everything that we can, but it's a long, difficult, bureaucratic process.
It's more than that. It's red tape to the T.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I can't say it any other.
And it's frustrating and I get it.
It's
cycle.
like, for Nora Nasto, I don't know if anybody knows her. She lives at I'm not speaking on her behalf, making that perfectly clear. I just remember having to move furniture from her basement to her second floor multiple times and cars ruined in her garage because of the creek at Springfield and Robbins Avenue. And it was probably because the blockage on the other side.
Well, we'll look into that. I mean, we'll definitely.
But it's so frustrating, Angie.
I get it. And listen, John, the July 14th, he had sewage in his home and he had made multiple repairs from 8 months prior and thought that he had it. So he's had sewage in his basement 2 times in the last year. So and he sits on council. It's frustrating. And I know there's a loop that just feels like it keeps going.
To your cleanup, I have a 20-foot easement on my property. It's a storm runoff. And I'm out there every day. The town has not once come out there. I've never asked them to come out. I take care of it because I see it. And the people who own the house before me, okay, I actually built a bridge across the back of the property, which isn't even, it's all wetlands. And it goes back to the back part off of Plainfield Avenue. And I'm out there cleaning it up because I see stuff blocking it up, everything else, because I want it to run free. It has to run free. Now, the other side is the Green Brook, which runs down to Plainfield Avenue. That's county or state property. Now, I'm also gonna tell you from experience, okay?
Somerset County or?
Yeah, it runs into Somerset County from Union County. Okay, I had a tree fall down from that back part, which is the wetlands, fell on my property. It took me 4 phone calls. Union County, Township, Union County, Somerset County, and Watchung to try and get an answer. Finally, Berkeley Heights came out and cut the tree up. It wasn't even theirs. Okay, so my point is this, okay? When I was a police officer and I was working, you call the county, we got 21 towns in Union County I've got to deal with, okay? You try to get a dog, you try to get the police department out there, you try to get something from the county. Sometimes it's almost impossible because they got 21 towns to deal with, okay? Secondly is, they don't want you going on their property. Okay, we used to have 78 ran through Springfield, 24, state police cover that. They told us, stay off our highway. Don't cover accidents, don't run radar, don't stop cars. It's our highway. Because it's about the numbers. Accident reports, motor vehicle summonses, cars that they stop. If we're up there doing it, it takes their numbers away. So they don't want us up there. So you gotta look at it from that perspective also, is that there might be somebody at the county that's like, hey, we're gonna take care of that, but we'll get to it in our time, you know? And as much as you try to get the squeaky wheel against the grease, you know, and as much as that, there is red tape all the time. Trust me when I tell you, it's
Just gonna say this, and I'm sorry I'm picking on you. I don't mean to.
He's actually just subbing for a realtor.
Listen, I'm the lawyer. I say I tell you what the rules are, what the law is.
It's
I
like,
don't have a dog in this fight,
okay,
okay?
I
You should
just
presume
just
that I
find
feel
it
empathy towards your plight.
okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Just telling you what the rules are.
Understood.
Okay.
I just find it so hard to understand. Again, I've lived in the house for 25 years. We have had trees taken down along the creek that are paid for by Berkeley Heights. Because the trees were rotted and the trees were going to go into the creek or whatever it may have been. In fact, we paid a private person accidentally and the town reimbursed us for that tree that we had cut down along the creek because it was going to impede the property. So I'm not saying this to be a jerk. I'm saying this from experience that I have a hard time believing that it's the homeowner's responsibility. Now, I understand you may not have been the attorney this time and maybe things changed. I don't know. But I personally have paid for the town, or the town has paid for trees to be removed along the easement that I have.
So if I know that happened, but I think I know the explanation for this, and this was before any of us were here, but I know people like Jimmy at our DPW were here when that would happen. I believe that was before the township realized that was certain parts of those were private property, so they were going in and removing those. And therefore, it sort of set maybe like a precedent for some residents to believe that was township property or township responsibility. This is what I'm hearing from people who were here back then. And I believe that through the years, once the township went through the deeds and realized that was private property, the consensus was, oh, that's private property. We should not have been doing that in the first place. But the residents saw the township doing it and therefore came to the conclusion that it was our responsibility. So yes, I understand.
Do you, switch places with me.
No, I'm just explaining why
places
it used to happen.
With that explanation. Not for nothing. You're telling me that I can live in this town for 25 years. Herb can live in this town since what, the Stone Age? Pretty close, right? And all of a sudden, they started checking deeds.
That's actually what happened.
And they started to check, like, seriously? Come on. You
I have
guys.
to argue that point because as the property owner, you should know where your.
I know.
Property survey, that when I moved in.
And guess what? I just got my property surveyed. And you know why I got property surveyed? Because I was having a small issue with my neighbor. And I know where my property exactly is. So if my easement is 20 feet off of the creek, all right? And that's where they marked it. That's where my property ends, is where my property line.
Your property ends on the other side of the easement. The easement is so that the town can say, we're
Okay.
gonna run this through your property.
So I'm gonna go, so I should then,
That was the explanation I got in 1999 when I bought the house.
Oh, really?
because It shows on my property, it shows on my survey, exactly the 20-foot easement that runs past my house. And the reason I couldn't put a 25-foot deck on the back of my house, you only can go 20, was because of that 20.
so does that mean because it's my property that I can build a wall there?
That's a complete different animal because I was trying to.
It's my property.
I'm gonna explain you that. I was trying to put a addition on the back on my house. And I was trying to put a basement in. I couldn't put the basement in because it would be in the floodway. And the floodway is because of the easement, which is on the property. Okay, so I couldn't put that in there. I couldn't extend the backyard because of that.
So I can't do anything to protect my
No,
property.
because what happens is you now build in a floodway and you're gonna create a problem for someone else downstream or your next door neighbor or someone upstream. And that was the explanation I got when I wanted to put it in about, I don't know,
Okay.
15 years.
So
ago.
you can see that was the explanation you got, and you can see how I got different explanations too. So apparently everybody gets different explanations in this town.
Well, that was.
So let me offer this. If you have a deed or you have something that defines your easement.
do.
Please bring it to Mr. Salvaro's office, okay? Just give him a shout out and he'll sit
Am-
down
am I-
and talk to you about it.
My last question, and I promise this is my last question. I know I'm over time by like 5 hours.
You always time, it's all right, you're gonna.
So this is my question. If I'm responsible for the creek that runs through my property And my neighbor's responsible for their creek, and the neighbor next to them and next to them are responsible for theirs. And they're not doing their part. Who's responsible for enforcing it?
That's a good question. Mr. Jardim?
Who's even looking
Not
to
a simple
see
answer.
if it's being
Is that a
enforced?
zoning issue?
Well,
You're doing your part. Is your neighbor doing their part? Is 5 neighbors down the street doing their part?
It's on my property, so I'm the only one that handles it.
You're the only one that handles, okay.
Because
My one's
it's on
behind
my
my
neighborhood.
property into the side of my property.
My property line goes to the other side of that runoff and the easement. So I handle everything from the street to where it hooks up to the.
I'm just using you as an example because you mentioned it, but it's a valid question. And if my neighbors are not doing it, who's enforcing it? Who's watching it?
Potentially code enforcement?
Maintenance issue, but
Mhm.
potentially go through.
So zoning.
But who's looking to see if it's even enforcement? And guess what that goes back to? I'm sorry, and now I'm gonna pick on you. Guess what that goes back to? Some sort of cleaning schedule or maintenance or something else, right?
No, you would contact zoning like we would.
No, because I'm not gonna sit there and inspect all my neighbors' properties. Come on. Right? If it's 3 houses down, do you think I'm gonna walk the creek every year? Come on.
If somebody drops a bucket of paint in that creek.
Exactly. And you know what? You're absolutely right, because last year, 2 years ago, we thought somebody was dumping something in the creek. Somebody was there in 2 hours. And now I can't, and I'm sorry, I'm picking on you again. Again, who's gonna monitor all my neighbors? I can't monitor my neighbors. The creek runs on 2 sides of my house. I can't monitor what goes across on the other side of Passaic. You see where we're coming from now? We're not just making this crap up.
I know you're not. Let me just say something. I had a house fire 11 years ago. I know what it's like to lose everything in your house and think I lost my dog and thank God the police department got her out. I know how horrible that feels when you feel like you don't have, or your home is under attack. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. And everybody says, oh, it's just stuff. It's not just stuff. It's the home you built. It's your kids that can't get home. It's all of that. I get it. We are doing the best that we can. We keep looking at things. We're trying to balance the law and our obligations. We'll go look at anything you think, is, has a, blockage there. We'll go do that. If you do keep an eye out and you do see a neighbor or somebody who's not taking care of that part of it, you reach out to zoning. We're gonna get them out there as soon as possible and get that taken care of.
All I'm actually asking for is 2 things. 2 things. Transparency, which I initially started, that's all I care about, and some sort of action.
Cleaning schedule.
And a cleaning schedule. Okay, 3 things.
But I heard, we're listening.
All right, I don't think I'm being unreasonable, and I don't think anybody here would be in our shoes if you were on this side of the podium or this side of the dais. You would be screaming and hollering the exact same stuff. Every single one of you. All I'm saying.
Copy of the survey though, or
Anything that you have, please give it to Tom.
anyone here who lives in that area.
Yeah, that goes for anybody in the audience if you have a deed. Can you come just again because of we've got people that are.
Oh, it's time too.
No, yeah, I have extra time. I'm good.
Yeah.
So on the survey, the solid line is my property line, correct?
Should be a dotted line.
Is it the,
Should be a.
Do you have it?
Line and the easement will show a solid.
Do you have it on your phone right now?
yeah, I do.
Do you want to sit with Tom and let him look at it? I'll be able
If you
to.
want to- if you want to-
You what?
Mine, but mine's a
That one?
dash line.
He knows better.
Property line.
He looks at it all the time.
Easement's a solid.
Okay,
So looking at it real quick.
looking at it real quick, the solid line is my property line. The edge of the stream is past it. It's not my property.
is it, whose property is it? Does it border on some other property?
No,
Obviously.
no, that's the problem.
Who's on the other side of it?
Like, I'm on Briarwood, behind me, it's a cul-de-sac. There's another street behind me. I have 2 streams that meet in one.
They have an easement on their property.
No, but they're even further than me. So behind me is the stream. Who owns the stream then?
Well, whose property is on the other side of that stream? That's what I'm trying to
Is
get.
that, you're gonna tell me that house's property goes all the way over the stream to,
On my
there.
property, where it runs off of Hampton Drive, down to the Green Brook, okay? There's another house on the other side. My whole property line is on that stream, is on that storm runoff.
So you mean to tell me
So
the person behind me owns the stream?
They could. It's not, it's possibly in their property. It could be in their property survey that shows that they are the owners of that property or that creek or that easement.
Yeah,
You know,
we,
it's one of those things where it's.
so part of,
168 Briarwood Drive.
part of what when I said that we're trying to do all that we can, we are looking at the easements and the deeds through our tax office.
Yeah, because if they own it, they don't do crap.
Okay.
Because we have never in the, how many years I've
That's
been
the
here,
case?
the only people in my area, in my creek, is myself and my husband. We were in the creek on July 4th
Yeah.
with a chainsaw, cutting down a tree because it fell into the creek so that it wouldn't block it and form a dam. I have been down there many of times over the how many years, taking everything out. The problem is the creek every year, and you can see it, is getting shallower and shallower and shallower. That's the major problem. It needs to get dug up in some way, shape, or form so that the water will be able to flow easier and be able to hold more. I see when how I can get down into the creek, I can see how much higher and higher and higher every single year it's getting to. It's just, but like, are you telling me, I mean, I can't go in there with a backhoe and start cleaning it out. If you're telling me it's my property, yeah, but I can't. You're gonna, you know, you're.
The
like-
deed, you would require, that would require a permit for us or for you or for anybody to
But
be still.
something has, that's what's,
I know.
that's one of the major issues. Something has to be done in that creek.
No.
To, I mean, but are you gonna then contact that person and be like, hey, listen, that's your property, you gotta now start cleaning that out? Like, I can't go across the stream and tell my neighbor, hey, get your act together, start doing something.
Ask them, my neighbor sees me out there all the time and says, hey, can I help you? I got nothing.
Literally an island like between us.
But it can.
We're doing an assessment of what portions of that stream are ours and which are not, and we are going to, you know, address that. We were trying to get all this damage assessment done. We had to get this, because until we have these 2 meetings, don't have enough money to do all the repairs.
Yeah.
But part of what this next step is doing a comprehensive assessment of the easements, and some of these are not easements, like you said, it's just water running through some township property, some private property. So the portions that are on township property, we're gonna take a look at and see what we can do, and that part is part of that analysis.
Because I just have a question, you know, how the comment you made before about how you started taking down trees in prior years, and
Yeah,
when did that stop?
I don't know, before my time.
What was your
I
time?
don't know, 7 years ago.
Okay. Okay, because I've been here since that, and the town took a tree down.
I don't know.
So
what
that's,
property
yeah,
it
that's,
is,
you're
so-
saying somebody owns that, but you guys took a tree down. Because your guys, I don't know who it was,
We're
came out to my house since 2019 and said, that's our responsibility, we're gonna take that down. So, and it was in the creek.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, everybody kind of just keeps passing it off, like, you own it, no, they own it, they own it, and they own it, and they own it. Who owns it?
No, it really depends on where. In your situation.
It was in the creek, it was
Right,
in the
we
creek.
might own it, but in others, we
That's-
clearly don't.
That's the part we need help with.
Yes, and that's that,
The creek is past the tree. That's what we need the help with.
and that's the second part of this analysis, that we are doing what we can. If you get information, you come across your deed, or you come across an easement that's in your deed, you have that information, you're gonna get access to it more quickly than we are, because this is just one part of town, right? We have probably 4 others that were in a very, very close to my house.
Yeah, I'm not denying that there's other places, but when our entire part of our street is completely underwater, I mean, my house was an island.
Yeah, I know.
Literally an island. I mean, the water got up to my front door. I did not see the mat at my front door.
Oh, I know, I was out that night. I know, I saw it. I did. Yeah.
My sister lives across the street. I moved my car so I wouldn't lose my car, and coming across, I'm swimming to get back to my house.
Yeah.
Like, something needs to be done, and it's happening more and more and more often. You know, the first time it happened in 2021, everybody said, oh, this has never happened before. Last summer, this has never happened before. This year, this has never happened before. It keeps happening.
Let me just comment that 6 inches of rain in 2 hours is unprecedented, and no one expected that storm to just stay right over Berkeley Heights. And that's why the governor did come the next day, because it was, what happened to us, like I said, I was in the storm trying to make my way home. It was scary, it was frightening, it was scary, so there's
The
no
problem
flooding
is-
system that would have captured that water. I had flooding, not like you guys, but I had flooding in places, I've lived here 23 years, it's never happened.
And that's what everybody keeps saying, but the problem is it is gonna keep happening.
It is. The 100-year
It is.
storms are no longer
It's
100-year
no
storms.
longer 100-year storms.
I
Everybody keeps
understand.
saying, it's never happened before, it never happened before, but guess what? It keeps happening. My husband and I were on vacation last week and we left to come home to protect our house. On Thursday, we looked at Thursday morning at the radar and a big red and orange on the radar right over Berkeley Heights. We left our vacation to come home so that we can man our house, so that if what happened on July 14th happened again, we wouldn't lose everything. We had just went through hell for 2 weeks. I spent 2 weeks ripping up sheetrock and floors, cleaning out 2 sheds. Forget my backyard. I haven't even touched the backyard. The beautiful yard that we spent a lot of time cleaning up this whole summer up to July 14th. Now it's ruined. And it just keeps happening and happening and happening. We can't just say, oh, it's never happened like this before. Every year, it keeps on happening. Something has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
As one thing, hearing what I've heard also, I did catch one sniblet that might be useful. That when this original project had a subdivision granted, they built the project, maybe the planning board or board of adjustments, when they approved it, put in some kind of drainage rule to someplace in our
Well,
bylaws.
I was talking to Elaine today, and I think Harb alluded to it too. They diverted a stream.
Yeah, if they
There used to be a
believe,
stream before so Robbins Avenue was.
Elaine,
versus-
come to the dais because
Yeah.
if again the audio, I'm sorry, sir. You're next, I swear.
Yeah, so, Elaine.
Just sorry, but it has the same information.
Yeah, Elaine Perna, 89 Robbins Avenue. So I didn't expect to speak, but I will. So our block was owned by a man named Lewis Goodman. He developed the block, owned the property in 1960. The home started to be built in 1962. Our blocks, in fact, our block and lot all used to be something else. Now they're like a 80413 that used to be something else. But anyhow, before they built before they built my house, I have a big circular drive, and there was a stream running under my property. They moved that stream to where it is now, so they could build another house.
so back in 1962, there must be.
My house was built in 1962. I'm there since 1978.
Why is there a county bridge, right? We're like.
There's a county, okay,
You're gonna look at-
and to top that up, there's a county bridge so
Next year.
my house is here, the the Robbins Avenue Brook, its real name, runs down here and then runs across Keith's and then turns to behind Keith's house. Anyhow, they moved the stream over, Herb was there. Man-made, not nature, moved the stream over. And now it makes it, instead of going like this, it goes like this. And there's a big jam up over here.
There's also a county bridge, right?
And there's a county bridge right here.
Doesn't make sense either.
Might
And
be an agreement.
it says
There's an agreement.
county, Union County, 1962. Why would the county put a bridge on Robbins Avenue, which is township property, if it wasn't a county function, if this wasn't a county
No,
function?
this gives us ammunition. This is invaluable.
Yeah.
for People involved, because it gives us information we can delve into. Right now, we're checking the deeds and we're checking the surveys, we're checking the tax department, we're checking with present recorded easements. But this easement or this agreement, or there might be something still sitting back that's gonna be useful.
I mean, I've checked I have a whole lot of maps. I'm here a long time. I have a whole lot of maps, and it shows it's an easement. It doesn't show whose it is. All I know is that there is one spot and on one of my maps that talks about the parapet, the Union County parapet, right? And this is where that bridge is. But I do want to thank the town because, because of the unstable banks, the banks of our Robbins Avenue Brook have deteriorated greatly. And a lot of the trees, the larger trees, smaller trees, the roots are exposed. Trees are going to be, some trees have fallen. I spent a fortune in September to take down some trees. But neighbors fences, stockade fences are anchored into the bank of the creek. And when there's no more bank left, this is what happens. An 8-foot section of my neighbor's stockade fence behind me breaks loose, falls into the creek, travels down the creek, and blocks the bridge. There were, I don't know, maybe a foot on either side where it wasn't blocked, 2 feet,
Yeah, barely, maybe about a foot and a half.
a foot and a half, which backs up all of that water. Who's gonna get it? I'm gonna get it. I have one low point, which shouldn't be there. Maybe it won't be for long, but anyhow. And they came and the mayor had them come out and take it out. And I mean, how do we, you know what it was like to take that out, the piece of equipment that you had to.
You had to use equipment, you weren't.
Yeah, this is not a homeowner function.
The water.
Yeah. I mean, even if I was younger, I couldn't get it out, right? So I just want to thank you for that because it could have I had 2 feet in my basement. I could have had 5 feet in my basement. So, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm here 47 years. I never had one problem until 2021. That was the first time I ever had water even come anywhere near my patio. And I'm at least 150 feet away from the creek in my backyard. So I don't know whether it's a combination of the impervious soil from, as Herb mentioned, the AstroTurf, the development up on Locust, just all of our water starts at Timber, starts up at the top, rolls down. But I will say that this one section of going from my house to Herb's house and around Keith's house is a major problem because it's a bend and things get caught there. Anyway, if you ever want history from someone a little younger than Herb.
They love to have.
I was on the Environmental Commission. I was your deputy mayor. I was a councilwoman for 9 years. I was council president. I was everything. And then I became a Florida resident, but I'm still paying Berkeley Heights. I'm still paying taxes in Berkeley Heights.
She was my boss once upon a
And
time.
we hired her.
Yes, you did.
We hired her. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being patient.
Okay.
Michael LeBlanc, 156 Klein Boulevard. I'm a 16-year resident. Good afternoon, everyone. My comments are based on the original document since I didn't have time to review the new document prior to this meeting. My major concern with this bond ordinance is the complete lack of detail in the document. We just learned today that the detailed documents are published today, giving the public no time to review them prior to the start of this meeting. I'm able to find those documents on the website at this time. This document outlines very general ideas for spending, but doesn't offer any explanations of what was damaged, what will be repaired, where repairs will be made, and how long repairs will take, how the town will handle potential cost overruns, like with the municipal building and more. Some pieces of the capital budget read like a wish list of expenses that can be shipped into an emergency without adequate oversight. Spending on document scanning, replacing vehicles, radio equipment, IT items on a list without any explanation as how they're connected with the damage from the storm on July 14th. Additional concerns about scheduling of meetings should also be discussed. These meetings being scheduled during the workday when residents are working or picking up children from camps or activities feels like an attempt to hide this process from the public. Additionally, the failure to properly secure the 2 prior meetings with adequate measures is embarrassing to the town and its leadership. Zoom has ample security features that could have prevented those interruptions. I strongly encourage the town to look into training and practice using Zoom with the appropriate security in place. The interruptions must not be an excuse to end the use of Zoom. The public needs and deserves access to these meetings so they can be informed on what is happening in our community. Earlier, you mentioned flooding on a few streets. I would also like to note that Lawrence Avenue was underwater from Klein Boulevard to Springfield Avenue on July 14th. I drove through that water that reached the undercarriage of my Jeep. The Passaic River that starts at the corner of Klein and Lawrence is again clogged with stones and asphalt. That section of the river is on town-maintained land. The damaged pipe in front of 162 Klein Boulevard has only been addressed with a singular traffic cone. Hopefully, no one will be hurt or worse in that open hole that is covered with a cone. The family at 162 Klein Boulevard has numerous young children, and many other families have children in the area. The flooding also poses a threat to our entire community when emergency services can't respond if roads are impassable from water. Lastly, all the new buildings and larger homes aren't helping our flooding problems. I would like to pose the following questions to the leadership present today. All of you received these questions by email earlier today. I encourage you to refer to them in case you aren't clear on what I'm asking today. What specific streets and locations are being targeted? The original agenda does not contain any specific locations to be addressed. The following is a quote from the original resolution. The improvements are needed due to the fact that the storm of July 14th, 2025 caused damage to roads, culverts, and property that does not need to be repaired. The double that is in the original document. Why is money being diverted to document scanning, radio equipment, IT acquisitions, DPW equipment, vehicle acquisitions, public safety equipment with no specific detail at a cost of more than $950,000, more than 25% of the bond cost? Can the town list or explain how the storm damaged this equipment? If the equipment was damaged or lost, why isn't it being covered by insurance? What specific public buildings and driveways are being targeted for repairs? Again, the document does not give any details. How much is being allocated for administration purposes? And lastly, why don't our town officials return emails?
Michael, before you leave, hold on to the news. You see the list yet?
But again, I had
Yeah,
no
no, I know,
opportunity
I
to
know.
review it.
I just want to make sure you get a copy of it, at least.
I'd like to let you know that this meeting only introduces the bond ordinance. There's plenty of time at the adoption, at the second reading of it, where there will be public information, and we'll continue discussion on what's actually included in the bond. Although we are quite clearly doing that. I also like to say that some of the items you referenced in the capital plan were part of the annual capital plan. Some of those, majority of those items have already been funded through our first bond ordinance of the year.
Yes.
None of those were not.
Fusion. This.
$950,000 was issued, and I have the document saved if you need.
I know what I'm looking at, sir.
That's part of our budget. Only.
But then why is it part of the new bond issuance?
The ordinance
It's not.
is just for storm.
That's not how the original document reads.
No, the original, which was not published in part of this agenda, the intent was to amend our capital plan. That page was the capital plan that was published in the original one was published in our 2025 budget. So therefore, it lists lots of items that are not related to the bond, to this current bond. This bond relates to roads, culverts, and paving. And the requirements in the wording of this ordinance states that this amends our capital plan. So therefore, that additional document was not required by law. It was intended to be informational, but apparently it was more confusing than it was informational.
Any other responses to other issues?
I'll gladly address the Zoom issue. You can't hold a public meeting the same, you can't put on some of the same controls as you put in a private meeting. I can't not let certain people whose names I don't recognize in from a waiting room because it's a public meeting.
If they don't identify who they are, you can say you're not identifying.
How many people in this room have joined a Zoom meeting with the name iPhone? I know there's some. I can't just not let them in.
So then again, you remove them. You don't just cancel a meeting because
You
somebody's.
can't just remove them because I don't know who they
They
are.
do something inappropriate in the meeting, you remove them. You don't cancel the
Michael.
meeting because something like that occurs.
I'm so frustrated by this because I do know what I'm.
Someone does something inappropriate, you can remove them.
Ways to get around the controls, okay?
Yes.
That's a lazy excuse.
It's not.
It
No,
is.
It's not. It's.
Let me say
it's
this.
Not, is not.
Then there are other options available as
And
well.
we're looking into them, but we had to have this meeting
To get
now to get the
emergency-
funds available for this, to pay for these repairs while I look into a more secure way to have these meetings, so that doesn't happen again.
Can I just add one thing? You and the public may be most concerned about being able to, but what we are very concerned, myself, the attorney, the administrator, mayor, it's very important that we abide by the laws for holding public meetings, and there is no way, we always have to err on allowing someone in. So in the event that we're going to try to do it, and we potentially jeopardize us obeying the rules of the Open Public Meetings Act, we're not going to do it. And so you may not realize that, but that's our main focus, mine personally, the attorney, and the rest of the governing body. So you may not, and you may have, it, your viewpoint is one, but ours is very focused on that rule, and we always have to err on allowing the public in. Whether you like it or not, I don't know who they are. Liza cannot exclude someone because she doesn't like them there. That's not allowed, and you may have an opinion, but we made this decision, the governing body made this decision with the attorney's advice so that we can protect the governing body and hold a meeting that is legally allowed and meets those laws.
And it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
No,
I'm
not
not
at all.
embarrassed. We're looking into a better, more secure way, so our public is not exposed to those events again.
And our goal and focus is to abide by the law and hold a public meeting that is legally allowed.
Besides, we want to see all your lovely faces anyway, live in person. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with sitting here talking?
Because unfortunately, for those of us who work exceptionally long hours, I happen to be available today, luckily. But Monday, I didn't even find about Monday's meeting until after the fact, because it was hidden on a Friday afternoon.
Well, we have meetings that second and fourth Tuesday of every month.
I work,
Come on down.
I work,
It's fine.
and unfortunately, sir, I work those evenings, so I can't come, and I can't access it.
That's our public meeting. That's our meetings are posted in January.
Yes.
At our reorg meeting.
I'll also,
That's when they
then
are.
as a follow-up, for those of us who can't attend those meetings, why don't you folks respond to emails? I sent everyone emails March 20th and May, I forget the exact date, but in May, no response from anyone at this meeting.
I regularly respond to you, but if it's the same subject matter
Because
and
you haven't done anything about it. Have the power outages gotten better? No. Power outages this year.
okay, well, it's.
Again, has it gotten better? No. Because again, much like we saw here with the compliance with the river, it's not gonna get better. 10 years ago, 2015, August 20th, there was a collapse down at the quarry because we got 6 inches of rain in one day. So to say it doesn't happen here, it happened 10 years ago, almost to the day.
You're talking about the quarry over there.
Yeah.
That's Watchung.
But still, we got 6 inches of rain here.
That has nothing to do with us. That's
It's
Watchung.
flooding. We keep getting heavy flooding results and no one wants to ignore it. So keep building more houses, keep building more coverage in the ground. You can
You
make it
need
work.
no control of what Watchung does.
I'm talking
You're
about Berkeley
taking-
Heights. You put up hundreds of new houses in the last 10 years and it's screwing our town.
And we're on a mountain.
Yeah, and it's not getting better. But keep building houses.
Thank you, Michael.
Hello, Tara Rusignola, 188 Sutton Drive. So I'm gonna echo a lot of the same things that were said before, especially from the first person who spoke, talking about the flooding in her house. The culvert that is in between my house, 188 Sutton and 184 Sutton, is not efficient, it doesn't work, it's angled the wrong way. The creek itself is too shallow. And the same thing, we actually moved to town the same year, 2019, so also had water in my house 3 times, feel like we got the same house history. And the culvert and the creek have both overflowed with water multiple times. So obviously July 14th was the worst case, but it's not the only time that that's happened. And every time my neighbors in 184 who have been in that house for over 40 years, they tell me, this has never happened before, I can't believe this. And then the next time it was worse. And they said, this has never happened before, I can't believe this. And then the same thing with July 14th, this has never happened before, I can't believe this. And so again, like kind of echoing what everybody else has been saying with climate change, et cetera, the frequency and the strength of these storms is just gonna continue to happen. So I notice on the, whatever this is called, paper, that it says the Sutton Drive Bridge, you're working with Union County on an ownership question. So I actually talked to Union County a few days after the storm, and they said that it is not their property. They pulled up the survey. They said their only property is the bridge on Horseshoe and a 5-foot easement in either direction. And then after that, including the baseball fields, which I actually thought were Union County property, are maintained by Berkeley Heights. So that's Berkeley Heights property, the same thing with the culvert and the creek that's next to my house. So,
Horseshoe Fields?
the horseshoe fields.
So the little PAL field is township property, the rest of it is county property. You know, the little small baseball field at the top?
Yeah.
That's the only township property. Those other 3 fields, that's Union County.
So when I
We don't
see the
maintain them anymore. They took scheduling and maintenance away from us about 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
because I see the Berkeley Heights DPW like mowing the lawn and stuff, so I know,
I don't know, not anymore.
Touched any of the property or mowing the lawn up there in 2 years.
2 years. So about 2 years ago, they decided they wanted to take over scheduling and maintenance of all of the county-owned facilities. So that includes Horseshoe, Passaic, and Snyder. Am I missing anything else?
Yeah.
And we stopped.
The horseshoe area, and that's it.
Yeah, so we no longer are allowed to schedule or maintain their properties.
Okay, so then the question again that it's like kind of recurring here is like, who is responsible for maintaining the waterway there? Because it's not, it's not working, it's getting worse. Our houses continue to flood. It goes through our whole neighborhood, Sutton Drive, Whitney, Regent, Hampton. And so seems like, the funds are kind of there. What is it gonna look like? So I know you brought up before, the West Side Drainage Project, and I was looking into it, like, what can be done? What can actually be done here? What are the steps that need to be taken? That's why I called the county, I called the town, and I found, some of this West Side Drainage Project information from 2020 from Tom. The original projected timeline was a 3-year timeline, so expected completion was 2023. We're in 2025. No ground has been broken yet on that project. I know you said there's lots of red tape. My concern here, of course, is this gonna be the same thing that we see? The plans have been drawn up. We know what the solution could be. It's already been created. It just hasn't actually happened yet. So are we gonna see the same thing here in particular, like with my neighborhood at Sutton Drive?
I don't know if there's a planned project for you, and I don't have a good handle on the ownership. I know the fact that our guys are questioning it and the county's telling you they don't own it is curious to me. But we haven't undertaken anything related to Sutton Drive. I was making the point that even trying to do state and federal appropriations and a lot of planning that's gone into it, and getting iBank, which is state through the DEP money. We're still at year 7 going into 8, and we don't have construction. I think, we're warned, I'll say, that it could be minimum of 10 years, in some of these instances. And it's not just funny, it's complicated. For example, we have to get easements, and we actually pivoted a little bit. Originally, we're gonna start, not Emerson, we're gonna start at,
It was Old Farm Orchard, Mercier.
Right.
Through Deepdale,
and
Cross Mountain, Hillcrest, Arden Court, Sawmill.
ultimately, we would have had to get easements for all of those properties, because you're talking about a storm sewer line. You're not talking about a bridge or a culvert, so it's a little bit different, right? So let's say you put we get this easement, or there's township property, or it's your property, and you put a shed at the back of your yard, as people typically do. We would have to get an easement, we would have to remove your shed. Some of these projects are very complicated, and they take a lot of time. So we pivoted a little bit, and we decided to do something, build in bigger pipes down in Sawmill. And even with that, it's taken time, because we can't just construct a project, particularly when you're talking about waterways. If we own it, if we have the funding, can we get DEP to agree to this? And what's that process like? It's a long, arduous process to get these projects done. But I'm not familiar with Sutton Drive.
Yeah, so that area is right in the floodplain, but that is one of the areas I was
On
talking
this
about that
list.
we're reviewing.
Right.
The residential area in question, I think specifically 188, 200, the house is right around there. That's right in the floodplain. But yes, 188 is where that culvert is. But that's one of the areas that we're looking at to sort of figure out, okay, whose responsibility is that? And I do just want to note on the West Side Drainage, ironically, it's DEP permitting that we're dealing with right now. So that's been actively being pushed forward, but because everything has to go through DEP. To your point, if there was a project down near you, yes, it would have to go through the same arduous process, especially because it's part of the Greenbrook, and Tom can probably add in.
Project be more complex and more red tape to go through the state than the West Side Drive.
There's different counties involved
Different
too.
counties and different water bodies, different regulated workforces as recognized by the state, one being the Green Brook. So the tributary between 184 and 188 Sutton is a tributary to the Green Brook, which eventually conveys and discharges down to Plainfield Avenue, right where the county was fixing the side of the bank, which
Right,
about
washed away.
15 feet down into the ravine.
But that's one of those areas that we want to look at, see, okay, that is a huge project. But is there anything like we possibly can do on our property that would help at all? But that's one of those areas that we're looking at, yeah.
So just to clarify, like when we're talking about timeline, right, of construction here, and you're telling me it's gonna be similar, if not longer, to the West Side Drainage Project, we're talking about an 8-year time period, is that right?
I can't speak to that and I wouldn't want to speak to that. I don't know. I'm not an engineer and you have to do all the construction documents. I'm not comfortable giving you a timeline, but it's going to be lengthy. I can tell you that.
So being that our house has flooded 3 times already in the past 6 years, the storms again are only gonna become more frequent. What is the recommendation? So I saw on the website that there was like a possible flood buyout from Union County. At this point,
It's
I
the
feel
same
like,
program.
Yeah, Union County is organizing it, correct.
Blue Zone or
Yes,
something?
Blue-
Yeah.
yeah.
Blue Acres.
Blue Acres, sorry.
Yes.
Blue Zone something.
There's like an informational session that I plan to attend, but I just feel like at this point, this level of anxiety that you mentioned before of heavy rainfall, and it's like, you know, try to clear out our basement, try to get everything out. This is just not a sustainable lifestyle in this house. And so now it's kind of like, well, again, kind of what's the recommendation? We can't live there if we just continue to flood. Am I gonna be replacing my drywall every 2 years or every 6 months? Like, what do you recommend that we do if nothing's gonna happen with the reconstruction within, 8 years or 10 years or 5 years or whatever?
I think that's a personal decision that you have to make. And like I said, we are doing the best we can to collect the easements and the deeds and figure out what is township property and make sure the township is doing what they need to do to expedite, work if it's Union County, and it's even harder if it falls in Somerset County, because we really don't have a lot of contacts there. I mean, I think that's a personal decision. We will do our best. If there's a blockage, let us know. If you're on a waterway and you see a neighbor and there's debris or something there, you can contact zoning. Again, just we are doing the best. And I know it's frustrating and that's not a great answer for you tonight, or the next time it rains. I get anxiety when it rains that this is going to happen to you guys again and to the other side of town and to the other side of town. So I can only imagine how you feel. But we're doing the best that we can right now.
Okay, thank you.
What number are you again? I'm sorry.
188.
So are you before the curb or after the curb? Did you come down from Horse Street down?
We're on the curve.
You're on the curb, so
Mhm.
you're up, you're on
Our backyard is the fields.
Oh, okay.
the,
Okay.
it's, all right. I'm just trying to gauge, cause I'm on Hampton and I'm right on that
neighbor.
corner, right next to the pump station, so, yeah, trust me, I feel your pain, cause right
Yep.
now I'm 4 feet up on the studs and, waiting to get reconstructed, so.
Again,
It's, yeah, and, but ours was sanitary sewer. So it wasn't even, I
Water.
would rather have just water. You know?
I'm sorry.
And it's like, so, believe me, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm there with you, that's why I tried to clean out the storm runoff on one side. The Green Brook is the Green Brook, that's what it's called, and I was kind of surprised about that when I actually read the name of it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It is deep enough and it is wide enough that it can handle the water coming through there. I'm just not sure about on your end, because I've been over there on that side too. When the kids are riding their bikes and stuff like that, it is a little more narrow. But coming in from there and when on my side, it widens up. And when it gets to the bottom, it just opens up completely into the wetlands down there at the bottom of the hill. So, and then from there but that's all Somerset County. Anything behind my house is Somerset County over there. There's, like I said, I had a tree fall from that property and it was like pulling teeth trying to take care of. But to the mayor's point, yeah, something like this could take and I'm gonna go to something else. We're dealing with Long Hill, we're dealing with Morris County on the Passaic River and trying to get that going. We had the Corps of Engineers coming in.
2022, I walked the Passaic River with Summit, New Providence, Long Hill. DEP was here to try to get a Passaic River project because it's a regional approach. We can remedy some things in Berkeley Heights, even if we had all the money and all the authority and all the great things that we need to do. If there's blockage upstream or downstream, same thing's gonna happen. It's still gonna flood. So it's a regional approach. So I did have the Army Corps come in 2022, November of 2022. And they agree that we need a project. They agree that it's a regional approach. They're doing something upstream, I think in Essex County, agree that we're sort of the next leg of it. But to get a federal appropriation and to get the Army Corps, to get Congress to fund it and all the bureaucracy that goes along with it, they said, 10 years. We'll be lucky to see it in 10 years. Likewise, we're a part of the Green Brook Flood Commission. And I know they have some funding and they have some projects going, some smaller projects going. We participate in that meeting every month. So we're also trying to take a regional approach. And we do small, and I know it doesn't feel like it helps too much, but we do small flooding drainage projects every year. I mean, we try to, the grant money that we can get, we try to tackle what we can. This is a bigger, Passaic River kind of, regional thing that has to happen in order for the flooding to be mitigated, because we can take, DEP doesn't like to desag and de-snag and de-silt. And actually Union County a couple of years ago did, what's it called, the claw machine?
Yes.
They purchased it, right, to try to do some of that. But the same thing happens. We do it on our side of the Passaic River, in Union County, Berkeley Heights. But if on the other side, Morris County, Long Hill, they're not doing their part, it's for nothing. It has to be a regional approach. We have to get state eyes on this. We have to get federal eyes on this. Because these little things it's just gonna keep happening, So we're trying to do, like I said, we're doing the best we can. I know that's not the answer that anybody wants to hear. We're trying to take a regional approach. We're trying to do what we can locally. Obviously, everybody's really felt a lot of pain this summer. We'll take that into account, do what we can do in terms of our budget next year, in terms of staffing. And, I know the DPW, they do a lot with very little. They're down men too. Something that we can look at to see if we can expand that or not. I mean, we're looking at everything. Nothing is off the table.
And I not you personally, but I want you all out there, and I know we don't have TV land, and I like to say that. I personally know what you're all going through, because I'm doing it right now as we speak, okay? Usually I would come in a jacket and tie. My stuff I lost most of it, it's gone, okay? Believe me, I feel your pain. I'm up here and I feel it. Because I know what you're going through. Because I got pictures, I'll show you pictures. Okay, the walls are 4 feet up, the toilets are gone, I lost everything, okay? And this is the second time in 4 years, so it's Mother Nature 2, plus there's 0, okay? And it's the bottom of the ninth for me. Do I do a buyout, do I do, these are the kind of things I gotta look at, So, but if anybody thinks that we're up here and we don't understand what's going on, trust me, I know, and everybody else knows. We all feel this, we all live here. It's not like we live, in Long Hill, we live in Scotch Plains and we go, those people in Berkeley, still get over it. Don't worry about it. There's water, don't sweat it, No, we feel it. We're here. And we're your neighbors. We're the same ones. We clean out the brooks and we clean out the storm runoffs and we do what we can to make sure that our houses don't flood and your house doesn't flood and everything else. So that's my soapbox. I'm done.
Thank you.
Right?
Thanks, Tara. Anyone else? Joe? Joe and then Steve.
Joe Iadanza, 923 Mountain Avenue, Berkeley Heights. First of all, I want to tell all you people how sorry I feel what happened, especially you, John. It shouldn't happen, but it does. I've heard a lot of things up here, and I keep on hearing things like the state, DEP, overdevelopment, failure to fully understand how water works and affects everything. I got a question for you, sir. Is this the worst event that we've ever had?
Well, that depends. I mean, what about Hurricane Irene and Ida and Superstorm Sandy, right?
October 29th, 2011 with the snow? So my comments are, I asked them about October 29th, 2011. And that's when we had a whole bunch of snow. I don't know if people remember that. Trees came down. We had no electricity, nothing for about 2 weeks. Okay. So my question here is, when it comes to money now, is we want to borrow money. We want to get a bond. Am I correct? Okay. Am I correct? I'm not an accountant, but I thought I read somewhere that we had a $4,900,000 surplus on the budget for 2025. Is that correct? Okay,
But you cannot use surplus without an appropriation, and a bond ordinance gives you appropriation to borrow money, and therefore we make the funds available to spend by resolution.
like I said, I'm not an
Like,
accountant.
the money.
Why can't we spend money?
Two different things.
Okay,
Surplus can be used as a revenue inside the current budget. The current budget's already been passed for 2025. This gives us the means to appropriate funds for these specific projects so we can pay for them. And also gives us the opportunity to borrow money against this amount. That could be done through short-term bonds, bonding to hold us over until FEMA comes in, or long-term bonding. There's options that don't need to be made at this moment.
if I understand this correctly, if we borrow this money with the bond, we could eventually get reimbursed through FEMA.
If FEMA approves the project,
If FEMA approves it,
all ifs.
and that's the federal government.
Correct.
What about the state government?
The state government processes through FEMA.
Okay,
For something like this, I doubt there's a local match. I doubt that the state will give us additional funding. It's not normally how it works.
because being a realist, I understand that we have a Republican running the country and a Democrat running the state, and sometimes they don't see eye to eye, and I don't want to get caught in the crosshairs.
That's why I use the word if.
Okay,
And the wording is phrased that should we get reimbursed by anything, it will go to reduce any debt that we have borrowed already or to not borrow against.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm the guy who brought up the name, when I was reading this, Leve ad Valarum in the, section 10. The Latin
I
word,
got it. I have it in front of me.
okay. So I fully understand. Could you explain that to me and the rest of my constituents here?
Can the attorney? I know you didn't write this. Section 10. I'm in bond terminology. It's common bonds.
Well, can't see it.
Makes it easier. You can see all these two I broke down too, right? Okay.
I don't interpret this incorrectly.
You want to put it through Google Translate?
No. Does that mean that we have to pay, the taxpayer has to pay it? Basically.
Yes.
Okay, it's just saying that the township is putting the full faith.
In a sense, our taxes can go up because of, if we borrow this money, our taxes can go up, and if FEMA doesn't give us anything, the taxes stay up. Okay,
Generally.
And
Township is putting its full faith and credit behind this bond, right? And if there is a need to raise taxes in order to pay the obligation, the town has an obligation, township has an obligation to do that.
okay, thank you. Just want to make sure I got that correct. Because a lot of times I ask questions, you don't always get the right answer. If you go online, sometimes you get somebody's point of view.
Yep, the only thing I'll say to that is because the township is putting itself behind this bond, it'll get a lower interest rate for the bond in the market.
Okay. Thank you. I gotta tell you, I live on Mountain Avenue. I live right next to a paper street. And then there's a whole bunch of wetlands in there. So I feel your pain in that respect. And I've really been annoyed about the ash tree problems we've had. And those are the things that are probably clogging up half the creeks and culverts we have. And I had asked a long time ago, could the state give us some money to like address the dying ash trees? You know, we'll see what happens, but these are all things that you as the governing body have to see what you can do about. I honestly believe it's open development's not helping us. I like what you said about they changed the way the creek went, you know, it's unbelievable. A lot of us weren't here when all this stuff happened. It's a nice little community, but it's getting taxed, you know, not from a money perspective, it's getting overtaxed in terms of development, cars, trucks, pollution, you name it, we got it. And like I was semi-joking with him, some of the other words I wrote down, you know what force majeure means, and caveat emptor. And I mean, I'm sure that these come up when you start to talk to insurance companies. So, I just feel so bad for all you people. I mean, I was lucky, but God, man, I never saw Mountain Avenue, you know where the Feddises live?
I was driving up Mountain Avenue. That's where I
Okay,
saw the
that's
boulder.
First time I ever saw that
Tires
creek
getting
overfill.
popped. Yep.
And I could understand, and thank God that
That's on
guy.
our list too.
Either, otherwise I think his house would have been gone.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you, but I seen 8 inches of water in 2 days in Berkeley Heights. I never saw 5 inches of rain in 2 hours. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I appreciate Liza talking to me before the meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, I held the door for you.
Anytime.
No, it was good. I feel a little, remorse over a few things, but by the same token, I'm real concerned about our community as a whole. It's a great place, a lot of great people, and thank you for your time.
I agree. Thank you for pointing that out, Joe. It is a great town with great people. Steve, bring it home.
Hello, Steve Kroll at 35 Sycamore Ave. John initially and others answered the question about the capital budget insertion. With that, just a couple of things. When, back on July 14th, I keep records, take numbers. The up on Mountain Avenue, where we're close to, 7.6 inches of rain is what my rain, I had to dump it once so I can make sure I can maintain the measurements. And when they threatened on July 31st that worst case could be worse, up to 7 inches, we only got 1.2. So
Thank goodness.
we really looked out for that. And we're talking about it is time. We talked about all that rain in 3 hours. It's like Martha and I were talking, well, gee, when we had, one of the remnants of the hurricanes, may have had 12 inches, but it was over 2 days. And,
The storm stalled. That's the other thing with the rain event, you have a
Training.
big band and then a smaller band and a big, and as it's moving out, it didn't move, just not.
I watched it on the radar doing kinds of things, so. On one practical thing related to infrastructure, I'm gonna close with that. I don't know if anything's happened in the last few days, the intersection of Mountain and Park. I know that right turn lane has some some pipe, and hopefully, because that looked like that was readily fixable, not needing a big thing.
Buckled because of the water. It literally was like a
Yeah,
wave.
that's one of the things, because it's at such a major intersection, we're using leftover money we have to do now, because that's a big.
Yeah, because
Should be done the next.
I know it looked funny, but it looked like it could have been minimally repairable for use real soon,
Yeah.
almost immediately, but you probably have bigger plans of the underlying buckling, I guess.
Yeah, trying to get that done before school starts.
Okay, good, very good.
Yes.
Oh, Shauna's gonna bring it home.
Yes, Shauna Williams, 145 Rutgers. Glad I made it back in time. I'll keep it very brief because I know you expected the meeting to not go longer than 5. Just one thing that came up, and I wasn't planning on speaking either, but the neighbors just up the hill from us on Rutgers took their small ranch and put up a bigger house. And the amount of rain that we get in our yard now from their larger roof is substantial, and we now flood when we never used to either. So kind of one thing that struck out at me was, with the development, the 55 plus over on Locust, that's got to be having an effect. And it doesn't really seem fair to expect the homeowners to deal with everything when you know that some of this building, it's got to be affecting the runoff. I don't know what the solution is, but it just occurred to me that, it might be something that we need to look into because that's not their fault or their responsibility. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. All right.
No one else? Make a motion to close the citizenship.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, will you do the honor of reading us ordinance 2025-26, please?
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Berkeley Heights in the County of Union, New Jersey, appropriating $3,565,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,386,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Oh, no, so you didn't see the message. It's the 21st. I mean, sorry, it's the 19th. We don't have to move it, ma'am. Oh, sorry, it came up, must have been while you were traveling.
My laptop half died in my email. I haven't been able to get the email from it. Anyway.
Yes,
right.
we can confirm.
All right, I move that the ordinance as read by the clerk be offered on first reading, that August 19th, 2025 be set as the date for the public hearing, and that the clerk be directed to advertise the same in the Courier News.
Second that.
Any discussion? Roll call? Okay.
No, I just like the fact that we have the updated breakdown, which is easier for everyone to see what the money.
And the
is
sheet,
for.
yeah.
And any new information, hopefully we get put on the website ahead of time, so this way everyone can see it ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry,
Thank you very much for having that up there.
and just to interrupt, is that both the Carrier News and the Star Ledger, or is it?
Oh, yeah, you know what? It's gonna be published. Thank you for pointing that, because we talked, in order to stay with the 19th, we're gonna publish in the Star Ledger this time. We normally just read the Courier. But, yes, to meet that time frame to make the 19th, we'll do the Star Ledger. Yes.
Okay.
I apologize.
Timelines are quicker?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, I understand.
I'm
Very
sorry.
good. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kudo,
Affirmative.
Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Mrs. Illis,
Yes.
Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue.
Yes.
Okay.
With that, I want to thank everyone for coming, and I move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Was all I got that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna say you knew I say here. That's fine.
So thank you for having copies of that.
Oh, thanks. No.
Thank you. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. I will.
Try tomorrow.
And so